That was Secretary of State Marco Rubio saying it is in America's national interest to have a prosperous Cuba. To this news out of Axios, it's reporting that Communist Cuba has acquired more than 300 military drones from Russia and Iran and is debating plans to use them to attack, for example, the U.S. base at Guantanamo Bay, U.S. military vessels, and possibly Key West, Florida. CIA Director John Ratcliffe traveled to Cuba last Thursday to warn Cuba against doing this. Let's welcome back to the show Fox News contributor, former GOP Miami Mayor Francis Suarez. Mayor, it's good to see you. You're a first-generation Cuban-American. What do you make of this? Cuba's denying this. Axios says this intelligence could become a pretext for U.S. military action in Cuba. What do you think?
Look, I don't think that the CIA director just gets on a plane and goes to countries without a very, very good reason. The fact that he has gone there, it's to deliver a stern warning. He also said publicly not to make the same mistake that Maduro made. So he's being very clear. I don't think there's a lot of ambiguity here. The fact that they pose now a potential military threat with the drones, which buttresses the espionage threat that they pose with their proxies, such as Russia and China, and that they apparently, and it's also in that article, have Iranian advisors who are advising them on how to succeed with drone attacks, as they have had some limited success in Hormuz and hitting some of our bases. So this seems to be a credible warning, a credible threat. And the president has been very, very clear. His strategy has been very consistent as well, which is basically to continue to ramp up the pressure while he negotiates. And I just can't imagine that any of these leaders, any of these communist leaders in Cuba, particularly after the sanctions, after the potential indictment of Raul Castro that seems to be forthcoming in the next few days, could really believe that the President of the United States, Donald Trump, does not have the resolve to act. And Secretary of State Marco Rubio, who talks about not only the lack of resources of the Cuban people, which live off $5,000 per capita per year, but also the fact that the military leaders have billions of dollars stashed away. This all leads to the possibility of them leaving with that cash somehow and having some sort of an exit that is a bit easier than the one that Maduro had in Venezuela.
Okay, so CIA Director Ratcliffe reportedly also warned Cuba to stop serving as a platform for U.S. enemies, Russia, China, Iran, Hezbollah, Hamas. And that Russia and China, they have high-tech espionage spying facilities in Cuba, but it looks like action could be gearing up because this Wednesday, the Justice Department is expected to unseal an indictment of Cuba's de facto leader, Raul Castro, for allegedly ordering the 1996 downing of two planes flown by this Miami-based aid group called Brothers to the Rescue. So, Mayor, it looks like this is ratcheting up.
It's absolutely ratcheting up, and it's also justice for the families of these Americans that were killed mercilessly by Raul Castro after 30 years. There was no accountability. None of the prior U.S. presidents did anything about it. And so it does set the predicate for potential action that the U.S. government could take against Raul Castro, very similar to the indictment that was handed down against Maduro, which served as the basis for snatching Maduro from Venezuela, understanding that the very people that were protecting Maduro were also Cuban agents in Venezuela.
Got it. Francis Suarez, former mayor of Miami. It's good to have you on. Thanks for joining us. Coming up next, this.